So everyone wants to retire rich and early, but the reality is very much different for the vast majority of people out there. And that's really because there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of things out there that are just simply not true. So let's discuss exactly how to do this, kind of change your perception a little bit about this, and kind of put all the pieces together here in a nice, simple, easy to follow format. So anytime I talk about getting rich or retiring early or whatever the case is, everybody throws around a bunch of random numbers whenever I ask for specifics, but nobody does the actual math. I mean, the answers range from, oh, yeah, I think I need this, or the experts say this is the number that you need, or whatever the case is, but nobody does the actual math. Secondarily, we only think about spending and occasionally saving and investing, especially whenever it's the hot topic of the day, or whatever the case is. Otherwise, we don't think about saving and investing nearly as much as we do spending our money. So we know what we want to buy or how we want to spend our money, but we have no real defined clue how to get rich or what it actually takes to retire early and be rich or whatever the case is. This is why so many hit retirement age and cannot retire, and that is only getting worse. That is not getting better. That is growing every single year. Basically, they never defined it. And then as life goes faster and faster, bang, you're all of a sudden you're at that age of retirement and you have to keep working and hoping. And that is a terrible, terrible strategy. But more importantly, that's why everyone buys stocks at the tops per se, and then runs completely away from stocks at the bottom when you should be buying those stocks. That's why people routinely buy real estate at the top or any other asset you can think of out there. That's why they're routinely buying high and selling low. So what does it mean to be rich? Let's actually change the way we view that question in the first place. For me, whenever I think about being rich, it's not this arbitrary number of 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, whatever the case is. For me, it is when my assets cover my expenses. That is when I'm actually rich. Numbers could be anything. That could be, hey, my expenses are $3,000 a month. My expenses are $30,000 a month. My expenses are $300,000 a month. It doesn't matter to me. The point being, my assets can cover my expenses. Therefore, I'm rich. Therefore, I am free to do anything that I want. I have actual freedom. That to me is what being rich means, regardless of whether you can do that on $300,000 or whether you need $30 million in order to do that or more. It doesn't matter. So when you view the equation that way, your expense column is what matters. And what I mean by that is you lower that expense column, right? It means the less assets I need. And more importantly, because I need less, I can also retire earlier as well. Now, we have blacklist experts in there to help you out, but they have expense columns under $1,000 a month. So that means you only need about $200,000 or so, or one good rental property to retire. Now, I understand that's an extreme example, not normal, but to say it can't be done or it isn't being done is simply factually not true. And I can tell you this much right now, that individual is living a very happy life. And for them, they are living their very best life on that little amount. But a lot of people will never view it that way because they have the wrong perception in the first place. So let's change that in regards to being rich. It is essentially where your assets are able to cover your expenses. So next up, how do I make my assets cover my expenses? Well, for me, to keep this simple here, there's really three biggies that we can go after, right? So the first one is a side hustle. And guys, I know a lot of folks discuss it. I know it gets pushed around a lot, but a side hustle is one of the best ways to not only have side income in order for you to invest, in order for you to put it towards real estate or the stock market or whatever the case is, it is also the best way to eventually replace your current job with something that you absolutely love where it won't even feel like you have a job anymore. As a matter of fact, depending upon how you set it up and depending upon how hard you go after your side hustle, it will either A, not feel like work at all, or B, turn into something that was far greater than any promotion or multiple promotions you could have at your job, or C, it could turn into something where there's a lot of work up front, but on the back end, it's completely passive and allows you to essentially cover all of your expenses while that side hustle is also an asset over there taking care of all your expenses. Now, the second one is stocks. Now, the 4% rule is the one that's generally put out there. So essentially you build up your account to where you can withdraw down to a 4% rate. And that 4% that you withdraw out of your stocks every single year is enough to cover your expenses over here. So that way you can do whatever you want. Now, of course, some people use the 6% rule. You can even use the 8% rule. I've seen that one out there too. Kind of look into each one of those and see which one you feel most comfortable with in terms of a risk reward. Or you can actually buy dividend stocks as well, where they pay you a dividend, monthly, quarterly, depending upon how the dividend is set up there. So that way those dividends can then fund your lifestyle there on the other end. And finally, we have real estate. And honestly, guys, if you get your expenses low enough, you only need 1 or 2 rental properties to be able to spin off enough cash flow if you buy them properly in order to cover all your expenses there. Now, this video would be like 6 hours long if we got into real estate there. Too long for that. We got a complete real estate course down there in the blacklist for those of you guys that join there. I mean, literally everything from start to finish in regards to doing that. So this isn't the place, but if that's not right for you, just search it right here on YouTube, whatever the case is. But learn and understand real estate intimately and those rental properties. It is a great way to take care of your expenses. But if you're looking for it all laid out for you step by step, regardless of whether you want to do stocks, side hustle, real estate, combine all 3, which is what I typically recommend people do. And you want me and a team of experts helping you every single step around the way, the Blacklist Financial Freedom Program gives you the exact blueprint for everything we talked about today, complete with real life examples that will get you from 0 to financially free in as little as 1 to 3 years and on as little as a few $100,000. So make sure you check that out. That's the pinned comment down there and see if a membership's right for you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.